Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. It only took almost 40 years, and we finally get a decent Evil Dead game. And maybe I should emphasize on the decent part because it's groovy in some places, not so groovy in other places. So, anyways, you can finally play as Ash, like 5 different versions of Ash, because you know that you want to just play as Ash. You don't care about playing as anyone else except for maybe the demons and King Arthur. I think that's Arthur. It's been a while. But yeah, it's an asymmetrical multiplayer game. It's been hyped up for years, I think at least 2 years. And it's finally arrived under COVID while we're still struggling with COVID, unfortunately. It's the real Evil Dead in virus form, viral form. So anyways, the game's main highlight is its utter devotion to Evil Dead and everything Evil Dead, the source material. It loves it. This is like it's totally dedicated to making you feel like you're in the Evil Dead universe. So that's the coolest part. There's sound bites. They even tell you which movie the sound bites came from, locations. Heck, I even recognize some of these locations, and I'm not the biggest Evil Dead fan, I have to admit. The game is really a terrific ode to the series. I can't overemphasize this. Each environment you're in, it feels oppressive, and you being there, you feel like you're not wanted there, which is good because that's what the movies were like too for Ash. And watching them, there's a lot of weapons that are straight out of the movies. Crossbow, the chainsaw, obviously, the sledgehammer. I can't even think of them all. Swords, I remember seeing. So anyways, so you play as survivors versus the enemies, and if you get too far away from your fellow survivors, you start to develop fear, and your fear increases. And if it gets out of control, the demons can possess you from the other team. So there are different classes for the survivors. There's leaders, there's warriors, there's support, and there's also hunters. I'm not sure what the hunters are so much. Maybe they're a cross between the warriors and the support. And they have their own weapon types. You can upgrade them, upgradable skills, abilities. The leaders, they buff their teammates, so I guess they reduce the fear. I didn't really see that so much. And the warriors are good at melee combat, so probably I would choose a warrior myself. So the central mode is survivors versus demons, so it plays a lot like Friday the 13th game. If you played it, it feels like a little bit of, there's some tweaks going on, or have been going on since that game if you've played it. So the human players, 4 human players fight deadites, and then the other team controls like the different deadites, and they can possess the survivors, or they can set traps or spawn enemies. Now the cons with this game is I find the bots are decent, but like they're still kind of stupid and they'll follow around and you have to lead the way. I guess that's to be expected, but they're not as good as say Left 4 Dead bots. They don't seem to grab items or really help with any in-game progression, unfortunately. The game's default difficulty in most modes is insanely high, like insanely high. I don't know why it is. There should be a way to adjust it. I didn't see a way, so excuse me if I screwed up and they've added one, but I didn't see a way to do it. So don't even think about tackling any of the missions. I was reading that some people are like, oh, would I buy the game just for the missions? And really the heart of the game is the online play and the gameplay you get from there. So you would have to invest hours into the game leveling up to, in my opinion, to get to through these missions. And the map lets you know in the game where to go. It doesn't tell you where the enemies are, unfortunately, but it tells you like just the different locations, and that's useful. But like still, I find like there's so many enemies that they overwhelm Ash, and like Ash is not as strong as I expected him to be. Like I know it's a symmetrical game, but still, if you play solo, like watch out, you're gonna get swarmed so easily. If you're playing just like the online game, it's not so bad when you have other people like taking out the enemies. So It's kind of a shame the missions don't have people helping you, but I guess that doesn't make sense within the context of the canon of the game. So pretty much the survivors in the missions, it follows the movie to a T, and that's great for the canon, but it's not so great for the game. So you have to play the game pretty much as the survivors. Every time you find 3 map fragments, you survive 2 short horde waves, you kill the Dark Ones, and then you protect the Necronomicon con in a final 2-minute showdown. So the game kind of gets repetitive. You also have to find key items such as map fragments along the way, and it varies, their locations vary from round to round, but pretty much you're doing the same thing over and over again. But unlike the Friday the 13th game, where you could like win by calling the cops, killing Jason, escaping the vehicle, this Evil Dead the game, it gets really routine very quickly, and this could be bad for a multiplayer game for obvious reasons. The game does need more voice lines, even though I didn't notice this so much, at least in this session. Other sessions I found like Ash for some reason was obsessed with like 2 or 3 lines. But yeah, the sound of the game is like already 1 month old. I wanted to play it on Friday the 13th. Unfortunately, we're going to play it on June the 13th. Ooh. And a month later. And already a month later, sadly, this game, I tried to connect online. No human players were playing. I had to play with the bots, which were decent, but we got 90% through the mission with AI, and like they just sucked. And I was still level 1, so I sucked too. So yeah, it seems like you can, when you're playing alone in solo player versus enemy lobbies, you don't get experience points, so you can't upgrade your character's abilities. This is a mistake, especially when there's so little support out there, human support, helping you play this game. It's a shame. So I can see them, at least with the Epic Game Store, they're going to have to change this. Eventually, hopefully it gets on Steam and there's crossplay, but like this is a big problem, especially for a game that's only a few weeks old. I heard it sold really well. I heard that people were not getting their bundles, so everyone's getting the extra characters. I've yet to see that happen. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen it show up in my game. But the game is also heavily unbalanced in favor of the survivors. No matter how skillful you are at playing as the demons, if your survivors play together and know how to play the game decently enough, they will triumph. So I'm not sure if they've patched this. I haven't seen any proof they have patched this already a month later. So I can see why people have sort of forgotten about this game a little bit, even a month later. So if the demons can't find the survivors, so if you don't rush the survivors, apparently the Deadites and demons don't have a chance to win. That's what I've been hearing. The XP rewards are also slow and require tons of time to max, even to max 1 character, I've heard. So they need to fix that too. The health and the XP that's given out. And just all the effort that's been done, like the graphics are amazing. I'm not sure if I said that. The graphics are so good, the trueness to the canon's so good. It's just a shame that the game is just so unbalanced right now as it is. Hopefully it gets fixed. So clearly there's been a lot of effort put into this game, but the actual gameplay, it's kind of repetitive. Maybe they can do something about it. Yeah, this feels like a game that you play more with your close friends, but even then, like, I don't know anyone that has this game. Apparently a lot of people bought it, as I said, but I haven't seen anyone say, hey, I bought this, or hey, are you playing this game? And yeah, so that's kind of a shame. I can see this game dying quickly, kind of like Friday the 13th, which was apparently a fun game too when I played it. But yeah, it doesn't seem like a game that is going to, as it stands, be a game that you can play with total strangers, which is a shame because this game is finally an Evil Dead game that feels pretty loyal to the series. And it's worrisome for like it lasting. Like maybe it's going to have deep sales and people will buy it, and that'll be great. Apparently there's long-term support coming, there's free DLC coming, levels and stuff. I've heard it. I know 1 level's coming. We'll see how much the developer supports it, but what's there is pretty cool. It looks great, it sounds great, but like there's fundamental gameplay issues that hopefully they can fix. Right now, like it feels like a 6 out of 10 experience. When I first sat down, I thought, hey, this looks amazing. And then once you start to play it, like the zombies rush after you and get cheap hits. I try to run away or sort of like strafe away, but then they can catch up with you. It's kind of sad when you have Ash, see Ash get his butt kicked, and you know he's the hero of the game. So unless you're an obsessed Evil Dead fan, you have to get this in the first week. You have to get the box set. I would say wait for this. It's a 6 out of 10 experience. Hopefully it'll be a 8 out of 10. It's just there's too many gameplay imbalances right now, and it's not super groovy, even if you've been waiting decades for this game. So who wants a bottle of Shemps? You know, Shemps original. So great. Keep on shemping. Bye.